Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I find the attendance is thinning very fast. But anyway, let us start. The topic given is finance. Now, financing is a very broad term. It has different connotations, different components. The basic things are two limits. One is what the borrower can sustain, and second is what the lenders can also sustain. In other words, it is the lending rate, the lender's NIM, that is net interest margin. And for the borrower, it is the opportunity cost of the funds that he borrows and the trade-off where he invests and how much NIM he makes out of it by way of profit, regeneration, expansion that could go into n number of things. That is these are the two, the bottom and the cap. Bottom is what the lenders can sustain. I have analyzed, at least during the last 5 years, including G20 and the various conferences dedicated up to the highest international level on financing. And the few words and sentences that are common to all international conferences on financing, especially in the present context of the renewable energy and the investments in energy sector leading to net zero. As I said, the bottom line and the ceiling. All that these conferences say is, including G20, funds should be made available for investment in renewable energy at cheap rates, at lower rates, at concessional rates, on soft terms, and by the multilateral agencies, bilateral agencies. I looked at the whole thing, that all these people, including the World Bank president, talking of cheap and what you call as the concessional credit and the soft credit. How soft that soft is. World Bank gives you a loan, first signs an agreement with you, which has a commitment fee till the loan proceeds further. Whether you use it or you don't fee, you are bound to pay the commitment fee. Then comes the loan agreement, for which an appraisal team comes from the World Bank, similarly from the IMF, similarly from the ADB. This team comprises of their so-called experts who come, try to appraise the projects or reread the appraisal that has been done by our people, give comments here and there, and mind it, they will see your tendering requirements and the eligibility criteria. The level of turnover, the level of experience is so capped that your Indian or your domestic companies are generally disqualified. And it is only the multinational companies who have the type of turnover, who have the registration with GST, CST, FERA, and all acts. That is where most of the Indian companies which want to borrow or which could otherwise qualify get disqualified and eliminated. Similarly, ADB follows, it is virtually a piggyback of the World Bank, follows the same procedures, same thing. After the project is appraised and these eligibility criteria are fine-tuned to suit certain companies they have in mind, then comes the loan negotiation, which again has certain conditions with respect to the environment, that you will do this, this, this. If it is a hydro, they insist that you will do R&R, that is relief and rehabilitation, as per World Bank norms. Now, the World Bank norms for a developing country like India or an African country is more than the total project cost itself. It was an experience for one of the projects while negotiating the loan. We said it is better we don't take the loan rather than taking the loan and spending it on R&R, because the R&R component was so heavy. Therefore, the multilateral funding, bilateral funding, of course, is not that. After the loan is appraised, negotiated, then comes the sovereign guarantee. All the countries but borrow from the World Bank, ADB, IMF, and other affiliated, except International Finance Corporation, which doesn't insist on financial on the sovereign guarantee. Everybody else charges, asks for the sovereign guarantee, and the sovereign government in India charges 2% for giving that guarantee. Director ECB in the Ministry of Finance or Director Fund Bank or Joint Secretary Fund Bank is the person who signs it, and 2% on the top of the interest you have to pay to the government. So your effective interest rate would be the rate charged by the bank plus the commitment charge plus the guarantee fee plus the currency risk that you absorb. That gives you the effective rate of funding. If funds are just not available, then one has to borrow irrespective of the cost because it is not available and needed. But today, the condition is such, the Indian market is flooded with funds. If you ask an Indian entrepreneur, Kushagra is here, if you talk to somebody about 100 crores or 200 crores, the private entrepreneur laughs it away. If there is an investment proposal, get something for 1,000 crores and above it. They don't look at 100 or 200 crores. I remember in 1975, when I had just joined after completing the probation in the Ministry of Industry, there were 4 industry modernization funds: jute, sugar, textiles, and paper. And the amount of loan that was being given to each company was almost 15 crores, 20 crores, and so on. And for that, there was a board of which the additional secretary or secretary on one of the institutions used to be on the board. So from 20 crores, 20 to 50 crores, we have come to 5,000 to 20,000 crores, where our infrastructure funding companies give 15 years, 20 years, 25 years loans to fund the basic infrastructure. So therefore, there is no dearth of funds. All that is required is a viable project, a credit rating, credit track record, the users, the payment system, the revenue stream, the matching of the revenue stream with the debt stream, debt servicing, and wherever it is seen that it is impossible to match the debt servicing by a revenue stream, the government is kind enough to give you a viable gap funding, VG, which of course is quite cumbersome, but it is available. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I leave the floor to my speakers to speak on the various aspects they would like to. Sunil ji.